Hi, my name is Lillian Karakoff, and this is my video reflection on my physics project. After researching the four possible topics, I chose anthropogenic climate change, even though I had no idea what anthropogenic meant, but I'm really glad I'm not the only one. Before each of my interviews, I asked my interviewees if they knew what it meant. Ryan and Morgan got pretty lucky. They guessed and got it right. Elizabeth, however, couldn't tell me what it was, but after I explained what it was, she remembered that she had heard it before. For those who don't know, anthropogenic climate change is the human effect that we have put on our climate to cause climate change and global warming. And in my opinion, it's really hard not to put the blame on us for the change in our climate. We have put so much pollution in the atmosphere from factories and car emissions, but it just doesn't stop there. Deforestation is one big one, but most people wouldn't think that it would be. People think that that just causes droughts and floods and kills thousands of animals because they lose their homes. But once you strip down acres of trees, there's no longer anything to absorb that carbon dioxide to turn into oxygen, so that CO2 just gets taken into the atmosphere. There have been several efforts to resolve this ongoing crisis, such as eco-friendly cars and carbon dioxide absorbing machines, but somehow it's still not enough. It can get pretty costly, and our government would rather spend money on other things than saving our planet. I just don't think we're trying hard enough. As you'll see in my interviews, Morgan and Ryan's schools hardly talk about climate change. Now, Morgan went to Spotswood, which is only about 20 minutes away, and Ryan went to Harrisonburg, which is about 15 minutes away, going in opposite directions. And I think that's really scary because that's local people. Morgan goes here to Bridgewater, and Ryan still goes to Harrisonburg High School, and it scares me that even here locally, we're not being educated enough on this crazy thing that could wipe us out as an existence. Growing generations aren't learning about this major thing that could eventually kill us. And today's world leaders are more concerned about what new atomic weapons to kill other countries before they worry about what's going to kill us as a civilization. I really think people need to be educated about what's going on with our planet and that it is real and that it is not just a myth.
I've never heard the phrase anthropogenic climate change before, but I assume it's climate change that is the direct result of human involvement.
That's exactly what it is, yeah. That's
Okay.
exactly what it is. Good job. Okay. So,
The high school puts no emphasis on this topic. It might as well not even mention it. There's no talk about climate change, anthropogenic, or any other type of climate change at all in the high school. They just don't even talk about it.
Interesting. Do you think that they should?
I
Do you
think
think
they
that's
should.
something-
It's something that's affecting us, like our generation, the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we've just swept under the rug and not even mentioned at all.
That's very true.
STEM is a science program at the high school. It stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. It's for people who want to take more science and that type of stuff, take a more science and math approach to high school than just the standard high school approach to all the learnings. When it comes to climate change and global warming, we've mentioned it once, and that was to say that this past winter was not, the lack of snow and coldness was not due to climate change at all. That's the only thing we've mentioned in climate change and STEM, and that's it. I think we should talk about it more because it's an important topic, and for a science-oriented program, it probably should come up more often than it does. My idea is to solve this problem is to cut all uh, greenhouse gas producing energy sources such as coal, natural gas, and oil, while focusing more on other sources of energy that doesn't produce it, like nuclear power, wind power, hydropower, solar power, all those types, but not biomass power, because that produces greenhouse gases too. So get rid of all the greenhouse gas producing uh, energy sources, and maybe trap the carbon dioxide in the air with rocks, like because a large amount of carbon dioxide comes from rocks that trapped it back in the early ages and had it in the ocean. Mm-hmm. Another idea is to say trap this carbon dioxide in certain canisters and just ship it out into like the space. Like I would like take it to the moon, maybe produce its own like lunar atmosphere, mm-hmm. and that could be more helpful to us in the long run, because then the moon could have an atmosphere that we could later use. Yeah. If we were to like say send a plant up there.
Global warming was a concern when I was a teenager. Before then, there really wasn't too much of the PVCs and all the different things that were in the refrigerators. We did have refrigerators when I was a child, but really it was when I was a teenager that global warming started to become a concern of what they called then the tree huggers, and no one took it seriously. They kept saying that the ozone layer was so thick that there wasn't anything at all that we could do to harm it. However, that has been proven to have been a falsehood. Yes, global warming has gotten a whole lot worse than since I was a teenager. And you can just look back at the records that they have kept of the temperatures. Um, this past year was the warmest ever, not just in the last 5 years, 10 years. It was the warmest ever since they started taking and keeping measurements of the temperatures. Not only that, look at the polar ice caps. Look how that has gone away. Yes, we as humans do have to bear a lot of the blame for the global warming. However, are also need to be patted on the back for a lot of the efforts that we are making toward trying to reverse some of the bad effects. The world is so overly populated right now and we're condensed into smaller units, and we are making a lot of mistakes, but we are becoming aware and we are trying to do some good. I really do think that more people should step up and become a little more outspoken. Um, no, one person can't change the whole world, but one person can change one little area of that world. And if each one of us takes responsibility for our area, then we can make a big difference. We need to be talking to our senators and our representatives, not just on the national level, but also on the state and the local areas, because with a lot of the problems that the EPA and the DEQ and all of the different organizations are coming to front now, it has to do with monetary, the dollars, not necessarily the work that we're doing to make things better and to make our neighbors more aware of the climate changes and the changes that we can create to stop the climate change. But the dollars and cents speak louder than our voices, and we do need to step up.
It is the human effect on the climate change. My views on climate or global warming is there's two sides to every story, so I wouldn't put yes or no. It's kind of how the facts roll out. My school did not really emphasize on global warming. They mentioned it, but it wasn't really a big topic.
Do you think that they probably should have gone more in depth with that?
I think so, yes. Since this past year has been one of the warmest years, I think that if it continues to do that, then it will definitely affect the future generations because it could potentially affect the whole growing process of the people and the earth.